Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of A Walk Down Memory Lane. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me is co-host Dennis Brown, and we have two other East Enders welcoming Dennis in Heath Fogo, the Commodore of the Comet class and a past winner of the Edward Cross long distance race, and 21-time winner Stephen Dickinson, also from the East End Yacht Club. Dennis, this evening, I guess we get a lesson on the water and how sailors work around challenges and learn how to, I guess, master their way through a race such as the prestigious Edward Cross long distance race, because it is such enriched in our history that it was deemed the start of the summer for water sports when that race was taking place on back then Queen's birthday. But first of all, gentlemen, thank you very much for taking out the time. Stevie, let me start with you real quick. You would have won this race as a teenager. Would you, when you started, would you have ever thought that you could actually win this race as a young man, knowing the quality of field you were up against at that particular time?
No, I didn't think, because, you know, when I was coming up, I always thought there was a lot of good sailors here. I didn't think I would ever become that good until I really, really started loving it. And then as I got a little older, I said, yeah, I could probably win this thing. I could probably do this.
Do you remember your first long distance race?
Yeah, my first long distance race, I was 14. And I actually finished third. I was sailing with Stuart Tucker, Leslie Tucker's brother, older brother.
Stuart,
yeah, and we finished third. So I was pretty excited about that.
And Heath, do you remember your first one?
First of all, good evening, Earl. Good evening, Dennis. I want to make a slight correction on your introduction on myself. I am not the Commodore of the Comet class.
No,
I'm the Commodore of East End Yacht Club.
I'm sorry.
The Commodore of the Comet class is none other than Mr. George Hayward.
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you. Can I vaguely remember my first race? I can't say that I can, no, because I was a nobody back there. So before it was just to participate and to be a part of that prestigious race. So, and at that time, I had no houndsmanship skills because I sailed with Stevie for about half of my life before guys encouraged me to get into my own boat. So I remember the next day, but I don't remember that particular race because I was sore for about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Whoa.
Dennis?
Yeah, good night, guys.
Good night.
It's a pleasure to have you guys on. That was one of my questions, right? What is before I get into my other questions, what is a fitness requirement like to raise those comments? Because I'm sure like all that leaning back, your abs and all that have to come into play. What is a fitness requirement to get into comet racing and to be at the top of your game? Like, then you said you were sore.
Okay, I'll take it first and then let Steve before you. The example I could portray would be, have you ever done sit-ups for 2.5 hours straight?
No.
So that's what it's like, because remember, the art to going fast is keeping the boat as flat as possible. So when a puff hits the boat, the first thing you want to do in a dinghy is to hike out to hold the boat. The flatter the boat, the faster it's going to go. So that's the key to the speed of it. But if you're not fit enough to do that, then you're going to get burnt out, and then you're just going to drift your way down to whichever way it's either Somerset or St. George's. But it's very, very challenging as far as being fit. So I would say the biggest part about sailing is being fit, you know. Whoa. And then of course after that, as far as being in a long race like that, fitness is a big priority.
Yeah, definitely. Fitness and concentration level. If your concentration level is short, then you're in trouble. You gotta concentrate, keeping the boat going, setting the sails, making sure the boat is balanced out. Like you said, hiking.
So
There's a lot of strain on the legs and everything, but you try to focus on more the boat than the pain.
Okay,
You know
so
what I mean?
for the person who is not accustomed to sailing, what is hiking? Because I don't know what hiking.
Oh, hiking is you in the sailboat in a dinghy. You have feet straps that your feet go in, and you put your weight outside of the boat to kind of balance the sails and the boat to give it that forward momentum.
Okay.
So hiking is actually you fighting against the sail to keep the boat flat.
Okay.
Yeah. And just to add on, because you're probably saying to stay focused on that word that Stevie used as far as staying focused. A good example of being focused would be about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. The race started in St. George's, going to Somerset. Once we got out the channel, it was no win. I think I finished about 4th, and that race took 7 hours and 20 minutes.
Whoa.
So that's, I guess, I'll help to explain what Stevie's saying about being focused, because, it's nothing you could do. The water was like glass, and you're just hoping you make it up to the other end. And about, I guess, majority of the whole fleet, or 70% of the fleet, they went past us because they was on the tow line and went to the Soka show. But we were focused on finishing the race. Yeah.
Could I say, Dennis, if you can, could you speak up a little bit? Because the guy's getting a little ill here in the ears.
Who's that? You?
And last time we talked about this, I think.
Earl, you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I'm leaning
Turn your hearing aid up, man. Okay, another question to both of you. Who introduced you guys to sailing, and at what age were you guys when you were introduced to sailing?
Okay.
Let me go first.
Could I go first this time? Okay, here first.
Okay.
You trying to come first?
I'll tell you, it's a battle. My father introduced me to sailing. He was one of the guys that came down here when the club started, and all the guys got together and stuff like that. So I used to come down with my dad, and I was about 5, 6 years old. And yeah, he encouraged me to go sailing, and I've been sailing ever since.
As for me, I started later, and how I got started was this guy over here. He was working on a snipe, and he needed some help to make a spray rail on it. And I gave him a hand with that. Next thing I look, I'm up in what's that country called? Rivalry? The fleet of boats was 80-something boats.
Oh, you mean in Norway?
When I look up in Norway, and I'm racing, I've never sailed in my life.
Oh, wow.
So I started sailing at about 20. Yeah.
Whoa.
So Stevie got me started in sailing.
So who did you guys look up to, like, at the time you started, and who started coaching you guys into the art of sailing? Who did you look up to?
Excuse me, Dennis. I just finished telling you. You got to speak up, brother.
Okay, who did you look up to when you first started sailing? And who?
You could be honest.
When I first started sailing, well, I mean, I was always a great supporter of Lord Nelson. Nelson Lamb was his name because my father sailed with him. So I looked up to him a lot. And then as I started to sail more and understand it, I used to look up to Rudy Fogo, Alton Millett, Howard Lee. Howard Lee was a great one. Howard came a little later, but he definitely taught me so much about sailing, as well as Alton Millett.
As for me, I was always around the sailboats, even though I never thought that I would like it. And of course, my dad, he also used to sail comets as well. So once I got introduced to the boat, I would say through Stevie, after transitioning from a snipe, so it became a little bit easier, and I found out that I really liked it, so just kept up with it. So I would say my sailing thing has to be, say, I started through Stevie Dickinson.
So, Steve, tell us the uniqueness about the Comet. Tell us the uniqueness about the Comet. You know, if we started off with wooden boats and then got into these double bottoms. So tell us the uniqueness of first the wooden one and then the double bottom that we sail nowadays.
Well, you got to remember, like, okay, well, years ago, that's all we built down here was wooden boats. And we built them to last. They were heavy. Until we really started to learn about the comets, which was internationally, was in the States. They would be building light comets. Like, we were building comets that was 340 pounds, and they were building comets that was 260 pounds. So one year, it was a group of guys, group of sailors, left here and went sail in the States. Once they had that experience, they came back. They started lightening up the boats and everything, and people started to buy fiberglass boats, and it's a big difference. It's a big difference sailing a heavy boat and a light boat. Big difference.
One of the things for you, Heath, sometimes it's always good to have some water in the boat, and sometimes it's good to have the water going out of the boat. For you, what do you prefer?
Did he say water?
Water.
That's an enemy. That's like having a fire on board, Earl.
I know.
Earl, you always want, you want your boat to have like 0 month of water in it. That's why we got South Bailers, and some boats do through the double bottom take in water. That can be very slow. But what you want to do is have a dry boat. You have a dry boat, then you can possibly have a fast boat.
Yeah. You're going to tell us some of your secrets tonight, Steve?
Oh, yeah, you can have all my secrets. I'm sure them of all these guys.
You got
Not when it comes to race day.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
But Earl, I like to just put out there that my personal feeling, the Comet should be made a Bermuda thing. What's the word I'm looking for? A heritage as the Comet. The Comet is one of the oldest class boats of sailing class boats in Bermuda, second to the IOD. And the IOD came to Bermuda 1938. And they beat the Comet by 2 months. So they both was introduced the same year. And that's how long the Comets have been in Bermuda as a sailing class.
Okay, so for those of us who are not familiar with IOD.
IOD is the boat that you'll see them racing in Hamilton Harbor for the Edward King Trophy.
Girl Cup.
The Girl
Cup.
No, it's the Girl Cup, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the one designs.
That's one design, yes. So IOD stands for International One Design.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically, it's sailor against sailor, because the boats are the same, strapped the same, and everything. Where the Comet class, Dickinson has a little edge because he knows how to fine tune his boat a little better than others, depending on the weather, the wind, and the waves.
Yep. And it's interesting you say that, because that you can help, the waves can help you also in sailing. You know, so it's just having insight of how to use the elements that you got to work with to help you get that little edge. And my colleague here has basically mastered that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm always looking to go faster, Al. You know that. I'm always looking to go faster. But
we're gonna take a commercial. Yeah.
But the thing about it, Earl, you know,
you gotta go to
He didn't hear that.
But I tell you, buddy, here's what he wants.
But we're going to take a commercial break, because one of the things one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is that out of the town cut around Fort St. Catherine, which can make you or break you in an Edward Cross long distance race. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
This month, John Barrett & Son bring us a premium thirst quencher from North Carolina, the Blue Ultra Purified Water. Many other bottled waters use reverse osmosis to reach an acceptable level of purity. Le Bleu uses a 5-step purification process, which includes fractional vapor compression, distillation, and ozonation, assuring purity and a unique, appealing flavor. Consumer testimony repeatedly praises the taste of Le Bleu compared to the other brands, and this, along with superior purity, makes Le Bleu a must-try. Lynn knows. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
The brothers here.
Welcome back. Dennis, one of the things about the long distance race is the challenge that sailors would have either coming in or going out of the town cut and then around Fort St. Catherine because the wind shifts so much in that particular area. So to Stevie, what do you prefer? Do you prefer leaving, getting out of the cut and then around Fort St. Catherine, or do you prefer coming back where you have kind of want to establish a lead and then get around the tricky part of the course?
Well, actually, I prefer coming in the cut, meaning coming from Fort St. Catherine's and coming in, and you have a better idea what the wind's doing and stuff like that. But going out can be, because it's so short from the start to the channel. It's just so many boats in there. You just got to figure out how to get through it. And on a few occasions, I'm seeing this young man here, Mr. Fogo, go through there like he had a little medal. And I said, what is this guy doing that I'm not doing? He just went straight out of the channel. And everybody else is just drifting, and he's got the key.
I'm not telling the secret, Earl. I'm not telling the secret. Because when I get around Fort St. Catherine's, that bugger don't wait for me.
But yeah, I prefer coming in from Fort St. Catherine's and going in the channel. You just have a better look at the channel, so to speak, and the boats are a little more spaced all out.
Sure. Keith, your wind was coming down, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
My wind was coming down. I also add to going out of the channel. See, as Dennis might be wondering, is how we contemplate going through there. Of course, you can't see the wind. So the next thing you have to use is the water. So you could see certain things on the water that tells you what the wind's doing, whether it's swirling, whether it's going straight out, whether it's going to push you across. So you look at the water, so you're constantly trying to read the water to try to get through that channel. So if that helps, Dennis,
yes.
Because you can't see the wind, and you always see us looking up. We're looking at our Windex up top to see what that's doing, as to what the water's telling you. and then you will make your assumption as to which way you're going to go from there. Yeah.
One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is how much of a challenge around that fort to the town cut and getting in or getting out of it would be, because races have been won and lost right there. You know,
for sure. It's a lot of tide there as well. You know, I can honestly say I'm lost at least 2 races coming through that town cut and had a healthy lead. And just got in there and just got the wrong side of the channel and boats are sailed right through me. I can recall one time the boat was sailing nice and this little motorboat just came in between the shore and me. A little bit of airs, boat bounced around, stayed right there, and Mr. Miliband right across me. You know, and I was leading the race. Most of the race, I was leading the race. So, you know, I wasn't too happy about that. But it's a lot of tide in there. If you're not read your forecast or checked out what time the tide's coming in and going out, then you can lose boats and take a lot of licks.
Sure. Dennis?
Yeah, I heard Heath both of you talk about focus earlier. How important, because I know Stevie is competitive as ever, right? Playing against him in football.
Yeah.
How important is that, like, competitiveness, refuse to lose attitude as a comet skipper?
Oh, I'm going to take this one.
Yeah, take this one, brother.
I'll give you an example how bad it is.
Okay.
We were down in Argentina, Stevie and I sailing, and we had an awful day, or I should say awful first race. And this guy here, right, Mr. Stevie Dickinson, his eyes went fire red, right? And the guy's mouth won't stop. I said, Stevie, if you don't shut up, I'm jumping on this boat and swimming ashore. You know, so that focus, like, it has got to be on everything.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes things just don't go right, and you just got to regroup. But this guy, when you get in the boat with him, make sure you leave your Bible here. That's it.
Hey, he can say what he likes. It's still here.
Well,
so it couldn't bother him that much, right?
Yeah, because he apologized and said, hey, partner, I'm sorry, mate, I'm sorry. Yeah. See, and that's why I took a little apology, and I was all
right.
But
I have seen times that I'm wrenching him quite a bit, but at the same time, if it's done something and I thought he should have done better, I would tell him. And then as soon as it's done and we're still racing and we're doing well, I say, hey, good job, buddy, and we'll keep moving.
Yeah.
We keep moving. So I think that's what sort of saved the relationship in the boat. But the concentration level and the focus sometimes it's got to be on. It's got to be on, because sometimes you get around a big fleet and you're not worrying about 1 or 2 boats. You're worrying about 6 or 7 boats. Like, how am I going to deal with this? I want to put myself in a position where I can really work these guys. And it's hard work sometimes. I mean, sometimes after we turn the corner and we're going down we're sweating bullets, and you're focused.
Yeah.
So the passenger boats, like, how important is it for them, like, to stay out of the way? Because I heard you talk about the waves and stuff like that. How are those challenges like with the passenger boats?
That's a good question. And for future, what I would like to see, especially when the comets are either entering or going through the channel, if the passenger boats could let the boats through first, because what most boat operators don't understand about a sailboat is that we need the wind to propel ourselves forward. But underneath that sailboat, we have a big keel. And when they go past us to try to go faster, all the current on the water hits our keel. And you can feel the boat just going back like a fish, you see. But they don't know what they're doing, of course, because they're not sailors. But it's more about having some understanding of what's happening under the water as well. So it's not just the wind that we need, it's also, that's why when Steve was talking about going on Fort St. Catherine, it's the current. What happens, the current hits that keel and would send you, you got a lot of wake coming off the boat, but you're not really doing that much speed because a lot of it is current. So, and all that is a psychological factor when you're sailing as well, because you can hear the water and you say, yeah, I'm going fast. But from the land, people saying, the guy was out there, boat wasn't even moving.
Yeah.
But to us, we can hear the water going past us, so it sounds like we're going fast. So all that goes into play as well.
Yeah. Stevie, I'm seeing you at times stand up and wave boats away because of the taking your wind, especially when it's coming off of land just over the south, or just in the water just where you are. How frustrating is that sometimes?
Oh, that is real tough, and thank God you're not got a mic on me or anything like that.
Yeah, I know that.
Because it really slows you down, and people really don't know what you're trying to do, and you're shouting at them, trying to push them to your leeward side, meaning that we can get some fresh air so these boats can go forward. But when someone just sits there, oh man, it's so frustrating.
So for future reference, Earl, when you see Stevie stand up, it involves a lot of adjectives.
Hey, listen, Dennis would know. I know. You've seen him in other areas of his life.
Hey, this guy's making me look real bad.
No, I'm helping you. I'm helping them to understand you.
Both of these guys never gonna understand that. Football.
We know the other Dickinson.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm got battle.
Yeah.
You have another one, Dennis?
Yeah. So a question I always wondered with Stevie, right? And both of you can answer this too. What made you get into sailing? Like, I think you said your father introduced you to it. Because I mean, me growing up in Somerset, it was just football and cricket, and then we are also taken to Port Royal to play tennis. We are taken to Port Royal to play golf. But I don't think any of my friends got into sailing. So how did you what made you get into sailing? Like, both of you?
Well, but Dennis, I always used to go to the beach with my mom and stuff like that. I love the water. You know what I mean? And then when my father came down here and these guys are building boats and everything, I just said, man, this is nice. I like to try it. And when I tried it, I just fell in love with it, man. I stuck with it.
How old were you then?
Started with the Optimus pram.
Said, how old were you then?
Pardon me?
How old were you then?
Yeah, I was 6, 7 years old. When I really started getting in the boat and sailing, I was like 7, 8.
Whoa.
And getting an understanding of, I can remember one time, Dennis, there used to be always a lot of sailors used to come in and bring their pleasure boats in, sailing from the United States. And I used to go down the square and help tie up the boats. They'll throw me a line and I'll tie it up and stuff like that. And there's one particular boat came in, it had a little dinghy on it. Loved the little dinghy. I started hanging around, talk to these people, and we became really close. And I tell them, I said, look, I can sail, let me throw the dinghy over and go for a sail. Oh, every afternoon after school, I was in that dinghy. Oh, wow. And that was in, I think I was about 8 years old. During the summer, that December, I ran away to see him. That's how close we got. True sailing.
Good.
For myself, how I got into sailing was where our carpenter shop is located is right by the water, and they had this little dinghy that had a spritsail rig in it, and it had an oar as a tiller. And I just used to, on my lunch break, just jump in there just to go for a sail, just to basically get some of the sawdust off and stuff like that. And like I said, then after that, I helped Stevie work on the snipe, and that's when I really got introduced to it. But I started sailing just because I liked it. But I got into it accidentally by helping Steve, and his crew had bailed out on him. And I end up sailing with him. I said, Steve, I don't know about sailing. He said, don't worry about it. Just do everything I say. So back to that, that's how I got really into sailing. But I used to sail a little dinghy with an oar around St. George's Harbor just for fun. Yeah.
But we're going to take a second commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more with former comic class Edward Cross, Long Distance Tradesman. We'll be right back.
The history of everyday use of spices extends back thousands of years into antiquity. Since 1976, the Frontier Natural Foods Co-op has been bringing a wide range of exciting and authentic flavors to the table. A comprehensive range of ancient traditional herbs and spices produced organically and sustainably. The results are good news for the environment and more robust, fragrant essential oils in these natural seasonings. This month, we're featuring Frontier Natural Products, at least 95% organic salt-free lemon pepper. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, Steve, can you remember, or which one would you say would have been your most rewarding victory in the long distance race?
Oh, I would say my first one at 16. I was so young, and that told me quite a bit. That told me that I can do this. I have a lot of natural talent that I just need to apply myself and get better. Bassett? Cuddy Bassett was my crew. They was both 16.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And we actually came from behind and won the race. As we was going on North Shore, the boom broke, the boom gooseneck that holds the boom together. That broke. Cuddy steered the boat, I tied it all up and kept on sailing. So that was definitely the most rewarding one. And to see my parents on the dock and all that type of stuff it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, Heath, your victory, you had a good friend in your boat.
Yeah. But he had doubts that I remember that race.
Yes, I did.
He had doubts because I had an awful start up in Somerset, right? And we was in back then. That's 2001, I believe it was. Back then, the fleet of motorboats that used to follow the race was just awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
Right? And because we had such a bad start, we were basically caught up in the motorboats, right? So I said to Stevie, we're getting out of this. I'm going towards Tom. Right? What's supposed to get us to Georgia's? I'm going towards Tom. Steve says, man. I said, don't worry about it. I got this here. Came back, went through Ron Hugfish Beacon, and then we just worked the boats going down North Shore. Then she starts getting excited.
No, let me tell you this. Let me tell you the story. Now, I was a horrible crew, man. I was terrible, man. In the tax, man, the jib was slack and all this type of stuff.
And if that was me,
I really too. So anyway, and Byron McCallum was leading the race then, right up to Bayless Bay.
That's right.
I said, Heath, there's no way you're going to catch that boy. He said, Steve, I'm going to catch that boy. So we sailed, we got around Fort Catherine, and we was close. So anyway, we tacked, had a couple of tacks against Bubsy, went through him. I said, you all right, partner? He said, yeah, I'm all right. Turn, start going down in the channel. I said, partner, you all right? No, talk to me, bro. Talk to me.
They got you the channel deal. Everybody shouting at you. I thought I got something wrong. That's when the realization comes to you that you're in this big race.
I said to him, look, Heath, sail the boat like you normally sail the boat. Relax. Just sail the boat like you normally sail. And I've been in the race, of course. And then the interview, bro. The interview was unbelievable. He said his part and all that. He says, yeah, wait till Stevie Dickinson comes out next year.
It's just like cooking, Earl and Dennis. It's just like cooking. You add salt for flavor. Yeah.
This boy, something.
Yeah. But since which, I've had a handful of seconds, a handful of thirds. So but you could, with that race, nobody knows who comes second. It's just one boat race.
That's it.
Who came first? That's it.
Yeah. And Steve, let me ask you. Well, actually, Heath, what would you consider your most depressing long distance race?
I'm gonna say the one where my bait made the wrong call, and I pay attention to him because he's the veteran, and I leaned on that for a little bit. Where I should just leaned on my own understanding, and that was what year was it? It's about 4 years ago.
You mean Malcolm won?
Yeah. And Malcolm beat us by 3 seconds, and I think that was probably one of the most exciting races in the long distance race because they're always so far apart, And basically, what happened there when we was coming off of Spanish Point, I had noticed the wind had shifted a great deal, and I said to my crew, I said, partner, we should start heading in now. We got a wind shift. Nah, go straight. Right? But anyhow, and Malcolm came up inside. He heated the boat up, and he was going. But we made up quite a bit of real estate to the finish line. I swear, if the finish line was another 50 yards, it would have been a lot closer than 3 seconds. We probably would have been shrewd because I know Malcolm was itching, and Malcolm said, Steve is coming. And I had a crack. I said, what's the Stevie? It was me, bro.
Steve, what would be your most disappointing one?
I've been in a few of them before.
I would definitely say the last time Rudy won. Okay. I was leading the race. I decided to go. Well, it's been a couple. The one I lost to Max, right, and the one I lost to Rudy. I decided to go out because Martin Finnegan was out there. Okay. I just want to take a chat. But I was forced to go out there because of the motorboats. I end up out there, and then the wind went to the southwest, and that's when Rudy went up the shoreline. He didn't beat us by much, right? But that hit me. I ended up third, but that hit me hard. It made me think a lot. Like, look, you gotta pay attention to what's going on and all that. The one that Max won, Rudy was leading the race. I went through him and elected to tack in, not realizing that the wind was going to go west because I didn't check the forecast. So I was really angry at myself that I didn't check the forecast, because I would have kept just sailing duckyard, because I was much faster than what he was. Max was a lot faster, and Max won a sail through me. So when Max came off a duckyard, he had a piece on me. That's that race that was real close. He tacked in front of me. And,
in front of you, yeah.
Yeah. I was disappointed in myself then too. It's just little mistakes. You know, if you don't prepare yourself for this race, okay, make sure the boat is good, check your weather forecast, which way the tide's running. If you don't prepare yourself, you can lose the race very, very easy. It's a lesson learned. I ain't gonna do that again.
So how important, because I've seen you out, especially Stevie, like you had guys like Wesley as your crew. How important is the crewman to the helmsman?
Oh, without a doubt, very, very, very important, because he helps balance the boat. He does a lot of work, believe it or not. I can sit there and just get comfortable and adjust the boat, but he's constantly hiking. His in and out. Now, if it's a downwind race, he's all over the boat. He's got to balance the boat. He's got to stop the boat from turning over. You know, all this stuff has got to go forward, go back, go forward and back in the waves and stuff, so the bottom of the boat don't bury in the water. A crew's work is a lot of work, believe me. Whoa. I'll make a horrible crew. I'm telling you, I ain't gonna do all that stuff. Yeah, whoa. So they're very, very important. And for somebody to come out and learn it and do very, very well at it, even as far as tacking the boat over in the wind, his weight and everything has so much to do with that, whether it's good or bad. If he does it right, the boat takes off right away. If he does it wrong, and then it finally takes off. Because in each tack, you can gain a boat length if it's good.
So I guess mostly to help Dennis
understand.
It's almost like the two of them have to be one to make the tack smooth. And once you nail that, you gain each time you tack.
Yeah.
So how important is, because I was wondering, like, how important is like body weight?
That's important as far as wind conditions. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You know, because of course, the heavier you are, it's just more weight in the boat.
Yeah, it's easy to hold the boat, but the way the boats are rigged nowadays, Dennis, is they're very easy to depower. It's almost like, how could I use a car? Like when you take off first, second, and third. If you're going up a hill, you will gear it down.
I know.
Yeah.
You could use it as like an airplane wheel.
Yes.
But what gives you the lift is when they drop that flap down. So what they do with an airplane wheel, you do the same thing with a sail to give you what type of results you want. If you want to go faster, if you want more power to power through the waves, you know, you're constantly adjusting the rig as you're sailing, which of course people that don't sail just think we're sitting there but it's a whole lot of other stuff that goes on that you wouldn't even dream of unless you're racing.
What I really want to say is, you were talking about weight. You can depower. I can be 20 pounds lighter than him. He could be sailing with somebody that is 150 pounds. I could be sailing with somebody that's 118 pounds and still go just as fast or faster by depowering the boat, controlling the boat. And you do that by mast band, meaning the shape of the mast, this system called vang, boom vang, you pull it down so the sail goes a little flatter. All that the technology nowadays is much better than it was years ago, because it's so easier to sail as far as when the wind's out.
We're going to take another commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about that race in 2011. Remember that, Steve?
What was that?
2011, that race. You remember that one?
Your mast broke off of Spanish Point.
Some say he done it purposely.
What happened?
when you broke your mask, perhaps? I mean, when your mask broke.
Oh, you mean? I didn't do that purpose. I was playing about 100 miles an hour that day.
When you couldn't catch those bars, he said, "Yeah, I'm breaking this mask." I thought he was fun. Stevie.
Well, we take a commercial break.
I was having fun.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
Most of us identify pasta with the joys of Italian food, the most popular cuisine on the planet. After all, pasta is the staple food of Italy, where hundreds of varieties are enjoyed daily. While traveling in the Far East, the founder of the Explore Cuisine company was surprised and impressed by the variety of exotic pastas he found, sampled, and enjoyed there, and resolved to bring this knowledge back to enrich the cuisine of the West. This month, we're featuring delicious Explore Cuisine organic mung bean fettuccine and black bean spaghetti. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Time I look at beer this big.
Welcome back. Well, that 2011, Stevie was right. He was leading.
Yes. I had the wrong race, Earl. Sorry.
Okay, because we had the crash before the race actually started.
Yes.
And then the winds just picked up right at the start, even more than what it was. You guys were going like you had engines on your boats.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It was, Earl, that was a ride. That was a ride. And then I was doing a lot of laser sailing then. So I was sailing the boat like a laser.
Right.
Poor Patricia, Pat Young, she was just hurling on. Yeah, I got down North Shore. I mean, I was flying. Everybody else had turned over and it was only Raquel on.
Right.
And I got up on a plane and this next puff came and the man sheet just pulled right out of my hand and the mast just rolled right over. And it was blowing that hard. I was trying to encourage
Raquel
to come in. Go in.
Go in shore,
Yeah. But he didn't hear me. But he ended up winning the race, and I was very proud of him. I'll tell you, I was very proud.
And it's just for record's sake, it was the race where only one boat finished.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Yes.
One boat finished, and it was Raquel Evans. Through the grace of God, he got done because he had a young Ben Smith with him.
Yeah.
Right.
Ben was probably about 90 pounds.
Soaking wet.
Yeah.
They capsized twice, were able to get the boat back up. When they got around Fort St. Catherine, they literally just pulled the boat in a bit out of the wind and sat there for a while because both of them were burnt to the point that they knew, okay, they were the only boat. We could wait here a little while and then sail into the harbor. But that race was unbelievable. I know there was some doubt about even having the race on the day, but we had it. They won it.
Like you said, at the start of the race, the conditions were okay.
Yeah.
But it deteriorated so quick, and just to add fuel to the fire was some pictures got abroad, and the CCYA abroad called us in Bermuda and said, what are we doing sailing that river? Because the boats are only rated up to 20 knots if we want to sail them. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and as you got further down, like oil docks, 2 forts and cafes, you had 10 footers down there, man. Some big waves down there.
Whoa.
All right.
The last turned over, and they were about to give up, but Raquel was like, "No, we can do it. We can do it."
Yeah.
Once they got that boat back up, it's like, man, oh man. But
yeah, I was telling Heath, you know, every time I go around Bay Corner, I think of that race, and I said, man, if I made it there, I came in there, wrapped up my sails, and just sailed on the jib. You know, I got down there just as quick. But never made it, buddy.
He was like everybody else, got to tow you.
Yeah, for sure.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Any more questions, Dennis?
Yeah. How important were people like? So, can you guys name some legends of comet racing? The one that comes to my mind, I always used to hear about, was Howard Lee. Penny, was it Penny?
No, Penny sailed the
IOD?
Penny sailed the Snipe and the IOD.
Okay. So I remember growing up in Somerset, always hearing about this Howard Lee, and and also Gladwin used to play football for Somerset, so I knew about Gladwin racing. So can you just name some other legends?
Well, from St. George's here, it was Mr. Millett. You know, Mr. Millett had the racket of 11 wins, and was the first guy to win 4 straight. Howard Lee, I think Howard Lee maybe won the long distance race maybe about 3 times. But Howard was a fin sailor, so he was well recognized for that, and also represent Bermuda in the Olympics. And he done very well in that. But these are the guys that taught me. You know, I mean, I can remember one time down here, Howard Lee and Mr. Millett they were very good friends. They went out to practice, and I sailed with Mr. Millett. I can't remember who was sailing with Howard, and we was out in the harbor here practicing, and I missed the straps, and I fell over at this thick swell of water. And I was getting down. I was ready to go bottom, and Howard just came and threw me in the boat, then threw me back in Millett's boat, and we continued on sailing. But I was, oh man, I was getting, and we used, you know, used to have a workshop down here, and I was always down around Mr. Millett as I got older. And I'll never forget this, you know, when all the gentlemen used to come, all the fellas used to come on, Mr. Millett used to tap me on my shoulder, hey, go along here, tell your mama she scolded you. I remember that so clearly, and I used to just leave, but you guarantee I was back the next day. Because he was just so good, you know. And we became very, very close and talked about the sailing. And when I went into the snipe class, I had sailed my comet. You know, I hadn't sailed comets for a couple of years or more. And every time a long distance race came up or anything like that, he'll let me use his boat until I boarded. So, yeah, Mr. Millett was a masterpiece.
Okay, another question, sir. So, growing up in Somerset again, even as I got older, I always used to hear of this rivalry between Rudy Bailey and Stevie Dickinson. I read an article earlier today because I did a little bit of research on you guys. Prior to one race, Rudy had quoted that he's only got to worry about Stevie. Everybody else is just participating. How was the rivalry? What was the rivalry like between you and Rudy Bailey? And what satisfaction did you get from beating him? And then how frustrating was it for you to lose against him?
Like, you know, the rivalry weren't that big, you know. It wasn't at all because
the media makes it that way.
Yes.
I mean, Rudy and I got along pretty good, but I think the way Rudy puts things out there,
right,
would make anybody think that. You know what I mean? And I he's done that before. Like Don played the other sailors and stuff like that, and up, take the help out of the licks from the other sailors, right?
Never do that. Never do that.
I don't think it would. The only time it was a fuss was the long distance race. You know, his won 11 times, I'm won 21. So, I mean, pick the balance out of that.
Yeah.
His number, I'm got his number.
Yeah.
I can recall one time I went to the States to sail in this regatta, and I told everybody, don't you dare tell Rudy I'm coming. Because, you know, that's what Rudy enjoys sailing abroad.
Right.
So I arrived there, started working on the boat, and here comes Rudy. You should see in that man's face. He was not happy. Because at that time, he was going for a head trick out there.
Okay.
So I said to myself, well, I think I'm going to go out there and try to stop him from getting the head trick.
Oh, wow.
I finished first, and he finished second. So I stopped him.
Whoa.
So he was not happy at all.
So now a question. So did you guys ever envision like going to the Olympics or something like that? I know you had competed overseas in a lot of international races, but did you ever think about going to the Olympics or something like that?
I mean, I think that's every good sailor would like to do. But
Right.
you know, if you're not got the finance to do it and the support to do it, to have the time to go out there and sail for 4 hours a day, every day, then you just kick it in the head. You know, I'd rather go to a world championship somewhere or instead of going to the Olympics.
But the other thing
And it's the boat as well, because the Olympics only has a certain amount of boats.
Right.
I was going to just say the other thing, the Comet is not registered as an Olympic class boat. So if they want to sail, of course they have to sail some other class of boat, not the Comet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like I was saying earlier, I sail laser quite a bit, but you know, I'm just too small for a laser. You know, the guys that are 6'2", 190 pound, stronger, they're just, you know, that boat is built for them. So I mean, I just went in there to get boat handling, get some balance out, and just have fun in that class there.
Heath, you gave him a look. Heath, you gave him a look.
Well, I did. Huh? Because you're talking about you're not big enough.
Right now I am.
You're big, right? What?
I mean, Rick, but I'm not.
Big enough.
I should say I'm not tall enough. I'm definitely not tall enough for that boat.
But
I'm got the 190 now, but I didn't have the 190 back there, mate.
Let me ask you guys this question, because I can remember. Remember when the Dennis Conner brought the Stars and Stripes down to train in Bermuda, for the America's Cup? How much did that like kind of rev your engines up to sail a bigger class boat? Because I know, Stevie, you've been in multiple boats throughout your career. But how much of that, seeing those boats, watching them go out of the harbor as fast as they were, how much did that kind of rev your engines up?
Well, I mean, I enjoy watching it. I definitely didn't want to be on it. That's a lot of work, Earl. You know, remember when the Defending and the Courageous came down here?
Yes.
Well, I happened to just get invited to be part of the team, and it's a lot of like aerobics every morning. You know, you eat a certain time, you got to get your rest, you do your weight training, then you go rig the boat, and all sorts of stuff. And I'm saying, hey, man, it's a little too much for me.
and even sailing is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I also sail on a B class boat, the J105, which is about to start up maybe this Saturday, but they sail every Wednesday night in Hamilton Harbor, and normally Saturday they do circuit sailing. So as far as work-wise, even though it's a bigger boat, it's still very demanding on your physical ability, you know. And it's certain positions people work, but fortunately enough, I could work any position on that boat. Fore deck, main sheet, jib, whatever, flying a kite, all that type of stuff. So it's very demanding as far as when you're racing. But for someone to take someone sailing, they would enjoy it. To take someone racing, they have to like it, because it's night and day to go for a day sail and to go to a race. It's night and day.
Yeah. And Stevie, you had your time in the dinghies as well, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I sailed the
Victory?
Challenger.
Did you say Victory?
I didn't skipper it. I was the man she gun. But I sailed the Challenger from Somerset. They had one of the crew that got in trouble. Pardon me?
I was telling Dennis, you sailed on the Somerset.
He loves Somerset.
I bought Somerset some silverware, boy.
Hey, a light blue boat, right?
Light blue boat.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, we won the Carnation Cup with 2 races to go, and we never sunk that boat. Never. Came close. We all jumped out, and one bailed out. We jumped in and started sailing again. But that was a good experience, man. We had a really good team. And then the next year I went in it. Everybody knew everything about the boat. I said, well, look, man, if you know everything about the boat, you skip the boat. I'll check you later. See, Somerset. Yeah, they don't like St. George's, boys.
Trying to stop
We went
cursing.
to Victory and they think they know it all.
I can't curse on this show. I cannot curse on this show.
You know?
I'm also
I thought we'd take a commercial break, but no, we're not going to take a commercial break.
Okay, I've got a story for you. When Lionel King was skipper of St. George's, right?
Oh, that's right.
I said, Lionel, come on, let's try sailing. Man, that is so easy, boy. I'll break your boat, this, that, the other. I said, okay, look. I said, beat on Sunday. I'm coming. Took him out sailing. He says, I thought I was just going to say. I said, no. We're racing, bro. He said, what? I said, yeah, we're racing. But I don't know. I said, look, just do as your tool. That's all you got to do. Do as your tool, Lionel. Okay. Got in the first race, we won the first race. That was nice. That was cool. Got in the second race, had a battle. Had a hoodie boat on, his leaning out, and I kept saying, how bad you want it, bro? How bad you want it? I want it bad. It's Lionel. We ended up coming second in that race, so we had to win the last race. We ended up winning the last race. So when we came in to pull the boat off, I said, Lionel, go ahead, get out of the boat, and I'll take care of everything. He says, thanks. He got by the bench and stood right there. Couldn't move.
That's you right there.
Hey, yeah.
That's you two right there, St. George's Hall.
That's him. He says to me, Steve, I've never used so many different muscles in all my life.
Whoa.
But when I gave him the trophy, he was excited, man. He was really, really excited about that. And he always talks about it.
Yeah. Any final question, Dennis?
Yeah, final question. Just tell us some of the international events that you guys participated in, and how did you guys fare in those events?
Heath and I done the
Pan Am Games.
CAC.
CZ?
CAC. Heath and I done the CAC games down in Puerto Rico. And me personally, I thought it was one of our best regattas, because what had happened, our boat came late. And then when the boat did come, we had to turn it over and get the rats out of it.
Oh, whoa.
We finally got that done, and we was able to sail the third day. Mm-hmm. The third day. And by then, we were carrying 2 bad races. Obviously, like we did not start. Yeah. So we went out there. Was 5 races left. and won the Hill 5.
Oh wow.
Okay. No, what happened was it was the second day.
It was the second
The
day.
second day we
Oh
raced.
yeah, we got disqualified.
And we got protested in Spanish.
Yeah.
So we knew exactly what they was talking about.
Wow.
But we had won the race, but we got protested and didn't know what was going on.
Right.
Wow.
So we lost your protest. So
We had to carry it.
So
We had to carry the
hey,
DSQ.
hey, Earl, you should sort of walk out of the protest room. By his head was done, dragging his arms. I said, "What happened, partner?" He says, "Lost your protest." I said, "Well, we're just gonna win them all," and that's what we done.
That's what we done. Right. That was definitely our best regatta. We were sailing real fast. I always think when things happen like that, it's a setup, though. You know what I mean? Why would, if you're going to the Pan Am Games or the CAC Games, why would your boat be late if you had sent it a month before or whatever, So,
Wow.
yeah.
One thing you learn about those Spanish-speaking countries. They got
Stay away from it, bro.
boy.
They got all the tricks.
What?
Yeah, he called starboard on us, and we would like at least 4 or 5 feet away from him. He was past the stern of it like this, and all the Spanish scum, all these Spanish guys were looking around and stuff.
What just looking?
What you saying?
Oh, man. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. But we had a lot of fun.
Sure. Well, I want to thank you both for joining us this evening and giving us some insight into your Comet racing. Steve, how many more you got in you?
I don't know, Al. I really don't know. Like I said, Wales was going to sail this year. I'm going to see how he's feeling because he might have the jitters. You know what I mean? Wales might be a little nervous, so I might have to take over.
Well, you already said you're a terrible crew.
He is. I'll verify that.
So I'm terrible, but I'm okay. I can tell you which way to go, bro.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Like right now, I'm not really too excited about sailing, but as soon as I start putting that mask up and start doing things, then the guys start to come around and talk, and it should pick up a little bit.
Okay.
Should I answer that question?
Sure.
Okay. I'll answer for you, Earl. Myself, I'm not sure if I will do another race. I think about it a lot as far as the Edmund Cross race, especially, or the Flag Pole race. Because as years was going on, I sat back and I was looking at the Comet fleet actually dying out. And I said, they need a breath of fresh air. And I made a personal decision to run the races for the Comet class and give them some type of structure so they can look forward to sailing. And I find it's working, and guys are more enthused to sailing now, as before there was a little Willy Vanilli type of thing. So I saw that the Comet class needed some structure, and decided that I would put my boat aside and do the race course and stuff like that to help the guys out. And I want to say, if any of my race committees listen, will say thank you to them, George Hayward, Shalana Smith, Shakira Fogo, all those guys, and especially Mr. Spencer, yes, because those guys help me to help it look like it's an easy job, and it's really not. So I don't. But at any given moment, I feel like getting in the boat sometimes, but I think it's more important for me to see the boats out there than it actually dying off. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Uncle Steve,
Yes.
talk to you later.
All right, mate. Have a good night, you guys.
Hey,
Nice seeing you, Danny.
see you, Cup match.
Take care,
Enjoy the
brother.
rest of the night.
Appreciate you.
All right,
Peace out.
guys.